in a lush green valley where rolling hills embrace the sky, people often tell mysterious stories while sitting around a campfire. It is where the golden light of the fire blends with the breath of the night, and the stories resonate, spreading like a thin mist over a cool stream. Among these stories, none is more deeply moving than the story of Angela Angeli, who was once called by a strange name, the Water Witch. Long ago, before this valley was covered with moss, Angela appeared like a miracle. People did not know where she came from, but her presence was so radiant that everything around her seemed to fade away. She had golden hair, eyes as deep as the ocean, and a voice like the ringing of silver bells. When she passed through the villages, farmers stopped plowing, housewives forgot to knead dough, and children stopped running and jumping just to listen to her gentle voice. But behind her beauty, Angela was deeply lonely. She did not seek adoration or admiration, but rather something more genuine, unselfish love. Whenever she saw the admiring or covetous eyes of those around her, she felt distant, as if no one understood her. One day, Angela decided to take on a challenge. She mounted her white horse with a mane as shiny as the sun's rays and led the men of the valley to a new land. "Follow me," she said, her smile blooming like a flower. "I will show you the most beautiful place you cannot even dream of." They passed through green fields where bees buzzed and clover whispered in the wind. They crossed small streams and finally came to a large river. The water was crystal clear, and the sunlight shone down in thousands of crystal-like rays. Angela stepped into the water, whispering, "Come across this river with me, and on the other side, you will find true beauty." The men hesitated, but could not resist her charm. They stepped into the river, but as soon as their feet touched the water, the magic began. The river became violent, swirling so strongly that it seemed to swallow everything. In that chaotic moment, Angela realized that she had misjudged people's hearts and her magical power. She wanted to test her sincerity, but she did not expect the river to react so strongly. As the water swept over the men, Angela screamed in despair. Before things could get out of control, she transformed into a small lace bird and flew away. Angela disappeared from the valley from that day on, leaving behind a river that was as fierce as her heartache. But the survivors did not blame her. Instead, they remembered her beauty and the profound lesson the river left behind. Don't be fooled by appearances. Look into the true heart of others. It is said that Angela, in the form of a small bird, still silently watches over the valley. She no longer wears a halo of splendor, but lives humbly in nature. The bird's songs echo through the valley, bringing comfort and healing to those who listen. Years later, the river has changed. The water has become gentler, as if Angela's magic has been purified by the flow. The people of the valley, now more mature and wise, have begun to see beauty not only in form, but also in the simplest things. A gentle word, a sincere hug, or a warm meal with family. Every year, on the longest day of winter, they gather by the river, leaving breadcrumbs and heather flowers on the bushes. A thank you to the little lark for reminding them of the value of kindness and true love. If you ever hear a lark singing on a winter day, stop and listen. It could be Angela, whispering to you that true beauty lies not in flashy things, but in small, sincere actions. Slow down, love, and appreciate the simple things around you, because that is the miracle of life. If this story touches your heart, please give it a like to spread the message of kindness to more people. In Angela's story, the swirling river is not only a miracle, but also a mirror of the human heart. The men who were drawn to her radiant beauty missed the opportunity to see the lonely heart and the longing for true love hidden behind that halo. Just like in life, we are often fascinated by appearances, by the glittering things, forgetting that true value is not on the surface. Don't let what your eyes see fool your heart. Instead, learn to look deeper into the soul, the will, and the true goodness of each person. Because only when we understand those values can we find sincere connection and lasting happiness. Don't judge everything by appearance. Look for true value inside. Did you know? A study shows that more than 70% of us unconsciously judge others within the first 7 seconds of meeting them. Well, how can we blame ourselves? From childhood to adulthood, we are used to seeing things through the surface. But have you ever wondered, how many times have you missed a great person, a meaningful opportunity, just because your first glance led you astray? I remember the first time I met a friend who is now my soulmate. He was wearing a worn-out t-shirt, messy hair, and shoes that looked like they had been through a war. I thought, maybe another lazy, irresponsible guy. But you know what? After just one conversation, I discovered that he was a talented artist, a kind person who was willing to share half of his meal with someone in need. And then I suddenly realized that what I saw was just a cover. The real story inside was completely different. We often forget that the best things in life are never glamorous at first sight. Like pearls, they start as just ordinary grains of sand. But time and patience have created magical beauty. Think about it. If we only stop at the surface, how can we see that brilliance? In modern life, where everything seems Instagram perfect, we are easily caught up in appearances. Who doesn't love a beautiful photo, a trendy outfit, or a flawless, radiant face? But as Steve Jobs once said, remember, everything that looks beautiful on the surface has a wonderful complexity underneath. The same goes for life. Sometimes, the most precious things are hidden in the simplest appearance. Have you ever seen a flower growing from a crack in a concrete road? No one would think that, amidst that roughness and stiffness, such a gentle life could appear. We humans are the same. Beneath that, sometimes rough, even unimpressive exterior, lies a soul full of stories, kindness, and dreams. So, the next time you meet someone less than perfect, take a little more time to get to know them. Ask yourself, am I missing out on something special? And not just for others, but for yourself as well. You deserve to be seen as more than just your appearance. Don't be afraid to be authentic, because true beauty is always about how you treat yourself and the world around you. If you agree that looks aren't everything, share your story in the comments below. Who knows, your experiences might inspire thousands of others. And hey, do you have a favorite quote about inner beauty? Don't be shy to leave it. So, when we stop and look deeply into the true value inside, the miracle is that we begin to realize that what brings happiness is often not the flashy things, but the simplest things. Like Angela in the story, the miracle is not in the bright halo or the sparkling river, but in the small bird's call echoing in the valley, reminding us of the peace of nature and the human heart. Life is the same. Do we need too many things to feel fulfilled? A cup of hot tea on a chilly morning, the crisp laughter of a child, or just a few minutes of silence listening to our hearts. Sometimes, those are the things that create lasting happiness. And do you see? When we return to those small things, peace comes back like an old friend who has been waiting for us in life's hustle and bustle. So when we stop and look deeply into the true value inside, the miracle is that we begin to realize that what brings happiness is often not the flashy things, but the simplest things. Like Angela in the story, the miracle is not in the bright halo or the sparkling river, but in the small bird's call echoing in the valley, reminding us of the peace of nature and the human heart. Life is the same. Do we need too many things to feel fulfilled? A cup of hot tea on a chilly morning, the crisp laughter of a child, or just a few minutes of silence listening to our hearts. Sometimes, those are the things that create lasting happiness. And do you see? When we return to those small things, peace comes back like an old friend who has been waiting for us in the hustle and bustle of life. Peace and happiness come from the simplest things. Did you know that Princess Diana, a woman known for her elegance and kindness, once said, "Happiness is not a luxury, but the little moments we create every day"? It sounds profound, but do you know what moment made her happiest? Not a glamorous evening gown or expensive bouquets, but when she knelt to play with children in the slums. That image moved the world, and she once said, "When we bend down the lowest, our hearts are the fullest." It's amazing. We often think that happiness comes from big things, a new car, a luxurious vacation, or a round of applause from the crowd. But the truth is that happiness and peace often come from the smallest, most ordinary moments of life. Think back to the days when you were so busy that you forgot to eat. Life goes by so fast, you run after everything. But have you ever stopped to enjoy a simple moment? Maybe it's a cup of coffee in the morning with a little sunlight coming through the window. Or just the feeling of your feet touching the soft grass. Do you ever notice those things? Or do you just pass by as if they are invisible? We keep running, looking for something called great happiness. But forget that true happiness is often right in the palm of our hands. A hug from a loved one, a home-cooked meal filled with laughter, or just a few minutes of silence looking at the sky. Those things don't cost money, but are priceless. Many people often ask me how to find peace, and I always answer, peace is not something to find, but something to feel. One afternoon, I passed a small park and saw a kitten curled up in the sunlight. It doesn't worry about tomorrow, nor does it care what passers-by think of it. It just enjoys. And that is peace. We complicate things too much. We worry about the future, regret the past, and forget that the only moment we truly live is right now. Peace comes from sitting down, taking a deep breath, and realizing, I'm okay, and the present is enough. I once met an old lady on a volunteer trip. Even though she lives in a small, simple house in the mountains, she always has a bright smile. When asked what makes her happy, she simply said, "A new day, still seeing the sunlight." Those words touched me so much that I couldn't say anything more. Her happiness lies in gratitude and the simplest things that many of us forget in the hustle and bustle of life. What about you? Are you chasing a distant happiness and forgetting the small joys right next to you? Take a moment, look around, and share with me. What little things in life have made you feel the most peaceful? It could be the smell of your mother's cooking, a song you love, or just the sound of rain falling on a quiet afternoon. If you have a favorite quote about peace or happiness, leave it in the comments. Who knows? Your story might inspire someone else to realize that happiness doesn't have to be found far away. It's always right here, in the simplest things. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my story today. It's wonderful to be with you on your journey to find peace and happiness in the simplest things in life. We live in a fast-paced world where small moments are easily forgotten. But it is you, the wonderful audience, who have motivated us to tell meaningful stories so that we can remind each other that happiness is not a distant destination, but the path we walk every day. If this story touches your heart, give it a like to spread the message of love. Share so that many others can also recognize the small miracles around them. And don't forget to leave a comment, an inspirational sentence about what has brought you the simplest happiness. Who knows? Your story might be a warm light for someone today. Finally, we would like to send you a message. Just stop, breathe, and feel. You will see that miracles have always been right beside you.